In this video, we're going to do a little bit more of an advanced topic, which is editing the families to maybe fit your use case scenarios. And I'm going to talk about something I've done, which is unique to this set of families. And I think I'll be doing it in all of my rollouts and updates of my old families. Because what's happening is you guys are making a lot of great requests. And as I add those requests to the families file sizes are slowly over the years have creeped up so that they're pretty large. And that is mostly due to all of the graphic options you guys would like to see. So you design in so many styles, and I try to do a good job allowing you to pick, between many kinds of trim and door panels, because you need to be able to have the door panels that you want to see for your style of house or project, right? And you need the trim that fits your aesthetic and interior design scheme. So I've tried to create lots and lots of styling options, but those are the biggest culprits of making the file sizes huge. So what I've done is I've tried a new strategy to allow you to pick what you use most and what you don't use so that your files can be smaller than they otherwise would be. So let me explain that. It's kind of, it sounds complicated, but it's not. I've taken a new approach, and let me just show you what that approach is. So if you downloaded my families, you either downloaded Craftsman, Modern, Traditional, Commercial, or you bought all of them. But let's just use Craftsman as an example. They're all of them are structured the same. So if I go into Craftsman, you'll see three folders, and all three are important to what I'm talking to you about now. So the full doors, this is all of the doors, but with every single possible feature that Craftsman can give you. So it has every kind of Craftsman door panel, it has every kind of Craftsman style hardware, and it has every kind of Craftsman trim loaded into it. So that's that's probably over 60 nested families inside of each door. So you can imagine with that many nested families put inside of the main family, it makes the family size very large. So the full doors are great because you can just load them into your project and know that you can pick any trim you want, you can pick any door panel, but the trade-off is it's a big family file. So it's going to make your project file bigger than it necessarily has to be, because in the end, you're only going to probably use 2 or 3 door style, and you're probably only going to use maybe 1 trim style and maybe 3 different styles of hardware. But these doors, each door has like 60 total options available. So these full doors are great if you're starting a project and you don't know what you're going to be using, what styles or what doors. Maybe you start with the full doors. On the opposite end of the spectrum are light doors. Now these families, it's the same. Every door that's in the full doors is also in the light doors. Both of these folders contain the full door library. But the difference is the light doors only give you 1 trim option, there's only 1 door panel option, and there's only 1 hardware option. So when you load these in, this is like maybe you on your projects, you don't do a bunch of interior elevations, or you don't need the doors to look right. They don't have to have the right trim. They don't have to have a specific door panel. You just want a nice door that works in floor plan and it looks good in elevation, but you don't care about every little aspect of how the door looks. Then maybe you use the light doors. And then the nested parts, these are all of the families that are nested inside of the full doors and the light doors, but there's just not as many loaded into the light. So let's look at an example. Let's go to the full doors and let's go to the standard doors. And let's just look at the normal swinging door. Do you see how that's 21,000 kilobytes? It's because you have so many options. Now, if I look at that same door, but in the light doors, let's look at the swing door. Instead of 21,000, it's just short of 3,000. So the full version is 7 times larger than the light version. So you can imagine this one's going to perform better, and performance really doesn't vary too much between the light and the full. In fact, this is going to be a controversial opinion, but I don't always focus on sizes of families or project file size. Some people get very, very concerned about file size. I'm more concerned about project performance. If your project is not slowing or lagging, but the file size is huge, it's okay. Some files just get big. Performance suffers when things are not built correctly. When you're making bad choices in the way you're modeling and putting together your project, that's going to slow it down. And that will also make the file size larger. So a large file size can be an indication of an unhealthy file or project, but it is not synonymous. It doesn't go both directions. I have very big projects that work really well. I have families that are huge families and they cause no problems and they work great. And I have smaller families that were built poorly that cause all sorts of performance issues. So I have tried to make sure all of the families perform well, but because of the sheer number of options, they still get big. So that is to show you the difference in file size. So you can decide what families you load into your project. I have given you with your download the full version or the light version. And the great thing is you can use either the large or the light in your projects, or you can make your own decisions and make a whole separate file. So if you maybe downloaded my two files, maybe you copy the full doors and call it, your company name doors, like these are the doors you're going to make for you. And what you can do is just edit my families so that they are lighter, but they have the styles you want. So, because if you use my light doors, I just had to pick the trim and the door and the hardware that come in by default. But if you would rather pick something else, but you don't need 20 options, you just maybe want 2 options, you can create a whole copy of these and make your own. So I'm going to say this is for people who want to get into it and do this type of work. It's going to be a little tedious, a little time consuming, but it's still going to be at least 90% faster than if you tried to make all these doors from scratch. All you're going to do is make small adjustments to my families so that it works better for your process. So that's what this video is about. It's to explain that mindset and that workflow. And then I'm going to show you how to edit my families. So there's 2 ways to go about editing my families. You can start with the approach where you copy all of the full doors and you subtract the options you don't want, or you can go the other direction. You can copy the light doors and add in the options you would like. So you can go either approach. The easiest, if you're new to this, would be to get my full doors and just delete out the stuff you don't want. If you do the additive method, so starting light and add more in, then you have to know how to nest and substitute things. So I'm going to show you the subtractive process. And if you'd like to do the additive process, I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm going to say, if you feel comfortable doing that, you probably have enough background with families that it should be pretty obvious how you do that based on what I'm about to describe to you. If it's not, then maybe I would probably not I would not do the additive approach. I would start with this subtractive approach. But just know that everything that you would want to add into these doors are inside the nested parts. So these are, like, for example, if you go to just the swinging, these are all the panel options for swinging doors. So let me show you that. Do you see all these? So you can nest all of these into the swinging doors. And, if you're editing the bifold door, here's all of the bifold door panels that you can load in and nest into the light doors to create your own new set. But because that's harder, I'm going to skip it. Either way will get you to the same place. So I think it's easier to just copy the full doors and edit them. Okay, so let's talk about that. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to make a copy and put it on my desktop. So we'll paste that. It's going to take a second. Okay, so once you've copied the folder, because you don't want to edit, you don't want to change the download files. Though if you did, it's not the end of the world. You can always re-download. Anything you've ordered off my website is still available to download. So if you did screw something up, you can always go get the original files again. So we're going to open up Revit 2020 or whatever version you're going to use. Just remember, once these change versions to a higher version, there's no going backwards. So I would, if you still have projects in 2021 or 2022, use that to edit these, even if your current projects are in 2025 or whatever the most current version is, because if you edit these in a higher version, you can't use them on a lower version project. So I'm going to edit these in 2020. Let me close this file. And we're just going to do one door for an example. So let's go to a standard door. Let's work on our Craftsman, just our typical swinging door. This is what you're going to use 90% of the time. So let's start with that one. Hey, it just looks like it would inside of a project, but just know when you drag and drop this into Revit, or if you open it in Revit, it's going to open up the RFA file. So this is not a project file. This is the Revit file. Or make sure you close projects out, because if you drag and drop this into the window while a project is open, it's just going to load it into the project. It's not going to open it up in the family editor. You'll know that you're in the family editor when you have the create button up at the top and it's got like extrusion, blend, revolve. When it has these commands, you know that you're in the Revit family editor. So that's where you want to be. You open the .rfa file in the family editor. Then from there, what we're going to do is, in a project, what's over here are the views, which is the same as when you open a family. There's views of the family. So you can see the floor plan view, a ceiling view. You can see it in 3D. Okay, you can see all of that, but it shows sheets, but you can't get a sheet in a family, so I don't even know why they put it there. But the important thing you want to know is you can also see all of the nested families. So if you click this little icon, it'll expand, and these are all of the families that are nested inside the family. So the family itself is a door, but there's pieces of this door that are families outside of this family that have been loaded in. We call that nesting. So for example, if I click doors, that's where most of the nesting has happened. These are all of the door objects that have been nested into this family. So you can see, look at all the door panels. So from here to here, those are all of the door panel options. So if you don't want all of these, you can identify the couple that you would use. So let's open up, before we start editing, let's open up a project. Let's create a new project just for a demo. In fact, I'll just open this up. Okay, so I opened up our sample project. This is the project that shows all of our doors in it, but we're just going to use this for instance. So I'm going to type, or I'm going to draw a wall. And I think it'll be more helpful for you to see exactly what's going on if you know what they look like right now. So right now, this, I believe, this is the swinging door that we're editing right now. And this is how it comes from our website, just right as it comes down. This is what it looks like. This is the light version. And I know that because if I go to edit it and I want to change the door style, if I click down, there is only one option, door 3-panel craftsman. That's the only option. You don't see any other door options. So I know that that is a light version. So let me show you in 3D. Let's zoom in on that. So this is our light door. Now let's load in a full door real quick so that you can see the difference. So I'm going to load family, and go to craftsman, full doors, standard, and I'll load the full swinging door. And we'll just load that one from the type catalog. Okay, so now what it did, it was because I loaded the full version and the full version had the same exact name as the light version, it just replaced this door with the bigger version. So that's also a strategy you could use. You could just always start a project with the light doors and know that they're going to look wrong. But later, as you get into, after you've done schematic phase and now you're in design development and now you want to start thinking about what doors look like, you could then upload the full version of the door or a modified version of the door after. And if you just keep it named the exact same, it will just replace the light versions with the version you've edited, right? Okay, so now let's look at this door again. If I hit edit type, now when I come to door panel style and I click, it's got, as you see, these all say door, and there's all of those options that you see. So now let's do door 1 panel beaded. So let's click on that. And now you can see it changed. And it's the same with all of these. I can change the trim and the hardware. So let's just look at that. Frame, oh, the hardware's, these are instance parameters. So trim style. So look, I've got all of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trim styles. Let's do mid-century modern. And then for the hardware, you've also got all these hardware options. So let's do an exterior handle. Okay, and you can see. So all of this is stuffed into this the full family. The light family didn't have any of these options. It comes with one doorknob, it comes with one panel and one trim. So let's go back to our door that we were editing. That's this guy. And you can see here's the beaded panel that we chose. And here are all of the other options that were available. And then if you go down here to the hardware, here's all the hardware that we could choose from. And here's all the trim, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options that we had. So because you're starting with the full version, you have all of these loaded in, and all you have to do is select the ones you don't want and you delete them. So right now, let's just say we don't want either of these beaded options. We can right click and delete. And now that will save up some memory. That'll make each one of these that you delete is going to make the file size smaller and smaller. So let's just choose that we only want, let's just get rid of all of this. Let's just delete all that. Oh, you do have to be careful. It will not delete if in the family right now you're displaying one of these that you're trying to delete, it won't let you delete it. So what we need to do is you can click on this and it'll tell you what door it is. It's door 3-panel craftsman. So it's this one right here. We were trying to delete that. So if we delete all of these, it doesn't give us an error. And if we delete everything after that, it won't give us an error. Now, if I do want to delete this one and I don't want it to be here, what I need to do is I need to change this for one of these other options. So the way you do that is you come up here to this little icon. It's called the family types dialog. Click on that. And this shows you a preview of all the parameters that you'll see inside of a project. So you see right here, it says door panel style. You can change it to a different panel. So if we just want 1 panel craftsman, you can click apply. And now it switched it from this one to this one. And you can do this also if you just want to see what some of these look like. You can go in here and you can change them. Let's look at like arched colonial mullions. How about that? So that looks like that. I'll also tell you the ones that take up the most space with the biggest files are the ones with mullions in them because it's a repeating object. The one that's the biggest offender is the diagonal mullions. So let me show you what that one looks like. Click OK. Now it'll switch that out for diagonal mullions. And as you can imagine, this is a complex thing for Revit to build, so it takes up more memory than the others. So if you're never going to use diamond mullions, this would be the first one I'd get rid of. That'll save the most space. So let's switch this back to our single panel. And we'll get rid of this 3 panel. So now all we have are just 1 panel doors. Maybe we only design with 1 panel. I don't know, but whatever you like to do. And maybe you only really design with 2 of these or 3 of these. So you could delete everything but 3. So I'm going to delete all of them but the first 3. Okay, so now we're only going to have 3 panel options. You can do the same thing with hardware. And again, you just come in here and you can change the hardware to see what it looks like. So if you want to see what exterior hardware looks like, it's a handle and it's modern, you can click that and it'll switch it. Oh, it's on the other side. So that's what it would look like with a doorknob on the inside or whatever. So let's undo that. We're only going to use, let's say we only use doorknobs, or we just don't even care if it shows up in Revit in 3D if it looks correct. So we'll just say the default could be a modern round knob. So in that case, we're going to get rid of everything but the modern round knob. So you just need to make sure you don't delete stuff from other categories. You can tell what category it is by this first portion of the name. These are all hardware. So we're going to delete all of the hardware except the doorknob. So we'll have 3 panel options, only 1 hardware option. And then the third thing you'll want to purge out are all the trims that you wouldn't need. So, okay, maybe we'll use, what is this one now? This is a Craftsman trim. So maybe we'll use the Craftsman trim, and maybe we'll use, let's change it to another one. So under door trim, we can change it to Cape Cod, and let's try basic. So one side's basic. Okay, that's a pretty standard builder grade thing. Maybe I work for a developer and I use this one a lot, but this developer is not that fancy, so he's not going to use that one, which is the Cape Cod. So I'm going to change both of these to the basic trim. And let's just imagine that's the only trim I use. So I'm not going to give anyone the other options. I'm just going to select the other 5 and delete them. So now we've made a light door, but we've made it based on our company standards, not just me guessing what you would want, right? Which is what the current light version is. So now you've made your own version. Now you can save it. So you have 2 choices when you save. You can just save it with the same name. That way you can override anything else in the file. Like if you've already put our doors in your file, you can just reload these, or you can append a new name. So let me just show you. If you choose to rename it, so let's say I call this, instead of Craftsman door, I call this Revit family.biz door string, because now this door is specific to my company. I'm going to make sure I save it in the right place on my desktop. Okay, I'll hit save. And now over here, you can see I saved revitfamily.biz -door, just a regular swinging door. The only thing you need to remember to do, if you rename the file, you also need to copy and rename the type catalog. If you don't know what a type catalog is, go or look at my other videos. I explain what the type catalog does, but it's just important that it has the same name as the door. So I'm going to copy the door name and rename the type catalog. That's that txt file. If you don't rename it, it's not the end of the world. You just won't have all of the door size options when you go to load it. So now let's go into a project and let's load that door that we just created. So I'm going to go to Insert, Load Family. I'm going to go to my desktop where I made a copy. And here's my door. And you don't see the txt file, but Revit knows it's there. So if it's named the same, you'll see what happens. You'll click open and then this pops up. If this didn't pop up, that means you did not rename the type catalog, or you made a spelling error when you renamed the type catalog. So now this is saying, here's the door that you created, and here's the catalog of options. So now you can pick what doors you want to load. Since this is a residential project, I just want the 80-inch high doors, and then I want the 24, 30, and 36 wide options. I don't need it to load these other 6 doors for me. So I'm going to click OK. And now it's going to load our edited door. And when I go to place it, it'll be our newer version. So now when I click on this, let's change it to a 36 wide. See how it brought in the 24, 30, and 36? Let's click on the 36. And you can see over here, this is the Revit family.biz door that we just edited. And then here's the other version, the full version. So now when we click on the one we edited, if I go to change the door panels, you'll see it only has the couple options we gave it. And it only has 1 hardware option, and it's only got 1 trim option. Okay. So now you know how to do it. That's it. That's all there is to it if you want to build your own custom doors. And you can choose to do that for the whole library, or you can choose to do it just for the doors you use the most. Um, it could be pretty daunting because I think there's like 70 different doors. So if you wanted to do this for all of the doors, you'd have to do it 70 times. But it's a very simple process. And if you're just deleting the stuff you don't want, it makes it very easy. Okay, the last thing I kind of want to show you is, let's just do a side-by-side comparison now. Let's open up all the versions. So right now, here is the version we edited. And let's look at the full version. Right, here's the full version. And then let's look at the light version down here. Okay, so the full version was 21, almost 22,000 kilobytes. The light version was almost 3,000 kilobytes. And the one that we just edited says it's 3,000. So the one we just made isn't much bigger than the light file, but it now fits your company needs, right? Okay, so I hope you were able to follow all that. If you didn't, go back, put it on slower, keep watching it till you understand it. But I think once it catches on, it's really easy. And so now you can still make families that are customized to you and your specific company, but you don't need to have to try to have me edit them. You don't have to just be happy with having huge family files. If you don't need huge door files, you now know how to make them smaller to fit your project needs. Okay, happy design.